worship at the Triangle this morning. It's good to see you all. If you're visiting this morning, it's wonderful that you're here. I'm Hilary, I'm the minister, but we're just pleased that we can come together to worship God. You'll see from the notice up there that our theme this morning is love. Any idea why we would have picked the theme of love for this morning? Valentine's Day. So, Valentine's Day, in our house it's called St Hallmark's Day, but that's because we're a couple of cynics and don't really buy into the St Valentine's Day bit, but you might. So, anybody buy any gifts for somebody else? Oh, fantastic, a few hands. A few secret Valentine cards go out? No, yeah. A few. Well, you might or you might not know this, but St Valentine really existed, and he lived about the year 270 years after Christ, and he was alive in the Roman Empire under Claudius II. And Claudius II decided at a time of war that men who got married were weak. So he decided that it was illegal for men to marry at a time of war. And Valentine, who was a bishop, secretly married men to their sweethearts. And because he did this, Claudius had him thrown into prison. But Valentine fell in love with the jailer's daughter. And he wrote her a love letter. And at the end of the love letter, he signed it, "From your Valentine." And because he did that, he was executed on the 14th of February. Well, whether that's true or not, it's a pretty good story, isn't it? But some very interesting facts about Valentine's Day. King Henry VII declared that the 14th of February should be an annual bank holiday, although they didn't call them that then. Well, I might not like St Valentine's Day, but I quite like the idea of an extra bank holiday. First box of chocolates for Valentine's Day were made by Richard Cadbury in the 1800s. Chocolate is the most popular gift that anybody gives on Valentine's Day, and teachers receive the most Valentine's Day cards. If you're a teacher, is that true? Have you ever received a card if you're a teacher? I'm sure that's no reflection on your teacher. So why start with that? Well, we talk about gifts of love, whether that is chocolates or roses or whatever you do something special for the person that you love on Valentine's Day. But we're talking about the gift of love from God. And his greatest gift is encapsulated, is tied up in John 3:16 and 17. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, so that everyone who believes in him may not perish but may have eternal life. God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him. And that is a love gift for every single one of us. But it's actually also a love gift for you and for me as individuals. So I'm going to say it again. And after each sentence, can you repeat what I say? For God so loved me.
For God so loved me.
That he gave his only Son.
That he gave his only Son.
So I may not perish.
So I may not perish.
But have eternal life.
But have eternal life.
God did not send his Son to condemn me.
God did not send his Son to condemn me.
But in order that I might be saved through him.
That in order that I might be saved through him.
For God so loved you, Estelle, Ben, Linda, every single one of you, every single one of us. For God so loved us that he gave his only Son. The greatest love gift that we can ever be given. So we're going to sing about it as we stand to sing Wesley's great hymn 503. If you're using the hymn book, the words are on the screen. 503, Love Divine, all love's accepted.
this time of the service, when we do the prayers, we think about saying thank you to God for all the wonderful things that He's done for us, and saying sorry for all the things that we might have done wrong in the past week, in the past month, or even further back than that. And then we finish by giving praise to God for all the amazing things He's done. So when we do it today, I'm going to leave a bit of a few pauses, like I've done in the past, for you to personally give thanks, say sorry, or give praise to God in whatever way you think you need to. So with that, let's bow our heads in prayer. Father God, I just thank you for this world, this creation that you put so much of your love and effort and time into creating. I thank you that you gave us these stories from creation, right through the patriarchs, through Moses, and even before that, through Abraham, through Isaac, through Jacob, all the way through the kings, culminating in giving your Son, Jesus Christ, as a gift to us, and then his death on the cross. Father God, I just thank you that you decided that your creation was worth it. Just leave a short pause now as we give thanks to God for the things that he's done. Lord, many times in our lives we make mistakes, and we need to say sorry for the things that we've done, and sometimes that one word can be the most difficult thing in the world to say. Whether we're saying it to ourselves and forgiving the things in ourselves that we've done, or actually speaking to the people who we've hurt, or the negative situations that we've created. And I just pray, Lord, that you remind us each day this week, and further on from that, that saying sorry is easier when we know we've got you at our side. Because you came down, you died on the cross. And saying sorry isn't always easy, but it's made easier when we turn to you. When we look at that salvation in your death on the cross. I know there's times in my life when I've made mistakes, and I find it all too difficult to say sorry at times, and I'm sure that each and every one of us in the congregation today, even if it's a little thing or a large thing, we've all got little things that we want to say sorry for, and just say, Jesus, give me another chance. And to the people, just give me another chance. So Lord, I ask that we're able to, that you listen, and that we're able to say sorry to you for all those things. Father God, praising you, I think it's quite fitting that it's the thing that comes after saying thank you and saying sorry. Because when we say thank you, we're acknowledging something that someone's done for us. And when we say sorry, we're letting something go that has happened. But when we praise you, we're taking that next step forward in our journey. And I think that next step forward is so important, and that we know that even though it was 2,000 plus years ago that you died on the cross, you are with us now as you were then, and you will be for every footstep that we take into the future, and for our generations and generations after that. So Lord, I just praise you for the amazing gift that you gave us with your creation, the wonderful diversity that you put in your creation, in the human race, in all the animals, and all the places on this planet. And I just praise you for every footstep that we take from now until the day that we see you again. I offer all these things up to you. In Jesus' name, I pray. We pray. Amen. Now we're going to say the words of the Lord's Prayer, which is going to be on the screen. So I just ask, can we all join in that? Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Can you all hear me? Yes. Sorry about that. Right, so what is love? Can I have a few examples of what anyone thinks love is? Nat, you want to come and share what you think love is? Oh. Henry? Oscar? What? Oh, come on, Nat. What do you think love is? Cuddles? That's a really good answer. I think that's a really good answer. What do you think love is? What do you think faith is? Sorry, what do you think love is, Faith?
It's about
Have we got a...
people.
No, Ben, it's on the light.
Oh, sorry.
It's forgiving love for people.
That's really good, that. Thanks very much, Faith. Does anyone...
We have a good Samaritan.
Yeah. So, everyone knows the Good Samaritan, but what we're going to do is we're going to do it with a bit of a twist today. So Ruth and a few volunteers are going to come forward and we're going to reenact the story of the Good Samaritan. We've got all our actors ready.
There was once a Bolton Wanderers fan travelling home from a match. Upon his journey, he was attacked by two nasty men. They beat him up and stole his shirt and left him on the side of the road. By chance, a fellow Bolton supporter happened to be walking by. But when he saw the man lying there, he crossed to the other side of the road and passed him by, as he didn't want to get caught in all the match traffic. Moments later, a Chelsea supporter happened to walk past. He saw the man lying there, but he too chose to walk on, as to spare himself the embarrassment of helping the Bolton fan. Then, a Manchester United supporter came along. Much to the victim's surprise, he sympathised with the injured man and stopped to help. He bandaged up his wounds and took him to the nearest travel lodge where he was staying and let him rest there until he was better.
Okay, so everyone. So we all know the story of the Good Samaritan, don't we? And that was the tale with a bit of a different twist. But what does that mean for us today? Can anyone think of any scenarios where the Good Samaritan is relevant in today's society? How often do we walk by when we see people suffering on the streets? It's not something that I necessarily want us to answer, but it's just something that we all need to think about, and myself included in that. So often we walk past people that are injured or are hurt because we've either got somewhere that we want to get to or something that we think is more important. So really, it's just food for thought to say, that's the Good Samaritan, that's the parable that Jesus told, because he wanted to put that idea in our head that it's so easy to walk by on the other side, but actually the tough decision is to help the people that really need the help. Okay? Thanks very much for that.
I think just following on from that is, it said before, love isn't what you say, it's what you do. Sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes we don't say I love you enough to other people. And sometimes it isn't what you've done for somebody, it's the way that you've made them feel. And at the end of the passage about the Good Samaritan, Jesus says to the man, go and do likewise. We all booed when it was the Manchester United, didn't we? Because you would have expected the Bolton fan to have helped and not the United fan. But it's about doing the unexpected, but doing the expected too. And I was reminded of this twice this week. On Friday, young people across the country protested about climate change. And I was so impressed that they love the planet and the environment so much that they're prepared to take time out of education to go and protest. And you might not have seen this yet, but you will do. This is 3 Generate manifesto for 2019, and 3 Generate is under 18s in the Methodist Church who come together to talk about the life in the church, and they've come up with a manifesto, and it says that they want to make 2019 a year to be courageous. The children and young people at 3 Generate 2018 have spoken out, trusting that God is with us. We want to be part of a church that knows, shows and shares God's love. Therefore, together we want to take action on homelessness in local areas, look after the environment by recycling, using less plastic, picking up litter, seeking those who are lonely who are struggling to do something to help them, create safer spaces inside and outside the church where people don't judge but listen and offer support, be creative and varied in how we worship God, get to know and learn about more people in our communities so that we build relationships, break down barriers and stop prejudice. And that's going to go up on our notice board. But I think that as a church we should pay more attention to our young people and their manifesto. And I think this is a manifesto of love for the church and a manifesto for us in the UK and around the world today. And I think that's so important. And I'm so impressed that our young people are teaching us what it means to put God's love into action. And I'm proud of that, and thank you so much for the way that you showed us the Good Samaritan. Before we sing again, just want to let you know that at our all-age worship next month, we will be commissioning Ruth as our youth worker, as our paid youth worker, and Ben as our volunteer youth worker as we support him through his college course. But I know lots of people have said, who got the job after Chloe? And it's so wonderful to see her and Sam and her growing bump this morning. But to say that Ruth is our paid youth worker and Ben will work with her as a volunteer. But we're going to sing again, and the band are going to sing up to lead us, and it's 650, Let Love Be Real. got some very special visitors. And these are superhero visitors. So would you like to come to the front if you are a superhero this morning? And I'm going to introduce each one to you. Have we got any more? Yeah? Who else is coming? Oscar's coming. Have we got anybody else as a superhero?
No.
Oh, all right. So, Oscar, who are you?
I'm Superman.
This is Superman. Should we give him a cheer? Yay. So, Superman, what is your superhero power? Flight. Can you save the world from arch criminals?
Yes.
Fantastic. And who are you?
Batman.
This is Batman. Hooray. So, what is your superhero power?
Flying.
Flying. That's a brilliant superhero. And you
Mine
can
is laser beam.
laser beams and flying, and you save the world. Wonderful. And who are you?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. You are indeed. Well done. And what does Wonder Woman do?
Save the world.
She saves the world. Fantastic. Well, we've got 3 wonderful superheroes, and we've also got, we've also got Ruth Haslam. Ruth Haslam is a superhero. That can't be right. That can't be right, can it? What do you think? Well, Ruth,
That means to me.
it says you are a superhero. Are you really a superhero? Have you got a laser finger?
No.
Can you fly through the sky?
No.
Can you save us from arch criminals?
No.
Can you save the world?
No.
Well, that's not much of a superhero. Oh, who's my more phone's ringing? Oh, I think it's Mum. Oh, I better answer it. It's God. Hello, God. I'm really sorry. Can you ring back in a bit, because we're doing a bit of all age worship, and we're just talking about superheroes and about how wonderful they are. And Ruth thinks she's a superhero, but she's not. Oh, she is. She is a superhero. Well, she can't save the world, and she can't fly through the sky, and she hasn't got a laser finger.
Laser finger.
She is a superhero.
She's a
You've written it down in a book.
Well, that can't be right.
In the Bible? Oh, right. Okay. Well, I've got a Bible here.
I'll check my Bible then.
I'll check my Bible then. Where is it? 1 Corinthians 13. Yeah. Verses 1 to 3. And that'll tell me that Ruth is a superhero.
Is it a joke?
Thanks for ringing. Speak to you later.
Is it
Bye.
a joke?
Oh, I've never had a phone call from God before. But it says we've got to look at 1 Corinthians 13, and it tells us what matters to God. And it says that your mum is a superhero. So listen to this and tell me what God says. If I speak in the tongues of mortals and of angels, but do not have love, then I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal, which is just what people play for, isn't it? And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away all my possessions, and if I hand over my body so that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Ruth, are you loving?
Yes.
Are you kind?
Yes.
Are you patient?
Yes.
Ruth is a superhero, just like you. And in fact, it doesn't matter if you've not got a laser finger or you can't save the world and you don't rescue us from enemies. It matters that you're loving and kind. So, do you want to sit down for a moment? Because I just need your help. Thank you very much. Because in that passage in that passage from the Bible, it says other things. So, a bit of audience participation. If you think that this is loving, I want you to cheer. And if you think it's not loving, I want you to boo. Okay? Oscar will lead the way. Of course, I'll wait for you. Hooray! Because the Bible says, yes, love is patient. Would you like to share my lunch? Yes, because love is kind. It's not fair, I've not been asked to read in church this morning. No, love isn't jealous. I'm the best at singing in the whole of the junior church. Because love doesn't boast. Shut up, get out of my way. No, love isn't rude. I'm going to keep this whole bag of sweets all for myself. Love isn't selfish. I remember all the horrible things that she said to me last year. No, because love doesn't keep a record of all the wrong things people do. Have you heard what she did? You'll never guess. I heard it from Hannah, and she heard it from Ruby, and she heard it from somebody else.
Who is it?
Love doesn't keep a record of evil, but it's happy with the truth. We'll have David on our team, even though he's not very good at playing football. Yes, because love patiently accepts all things. I always know that you're there for me. Yes, because love always trusts, always hopes, and is always strong. And God loves each one of you, and you're all superheroes. In fact, you're all superheroes, because you are loving, and you are kind, and you are patient. And Ben reminded us in the prayers that sometimes we're not, and we need to say sorry for those things. But we are those things, and God loves us. And each one of you is a superhero. And God wants you to be a superhero at home, at school, in church, in the wider world, wherever you are. God wants you to be a superhero. So thank you for coming as fantastic superheroes this morning. And thank you, Oscar. We're going to sing again. I think the band are going to lead us in one that we don't know.
Yes.
So we're going to start. Going to teach it to us, Susie, or lead us. The big
We can do.
family.
And the children are all coming forward to do some actions.
Come forward, kids. Join in. Thank you very much.
Can I move that?
Yeah, do. That's fine.
So can all the children come forward? So, because you know the actions.
love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know love God, because God is love. This is how God showed his love, because God is love. This is how God showed his love among us. He sent his one and only Son into the world that we might live through him. This is love. Know that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son as an atoning sacrifice for our sins. Dear friends, since God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. No one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in us, and his love is made complete in us.
This is how we know that we live in him and he in us. He has given us of his Spirit, and we have seen and testified that the Father has sent his Son to be the Saviour of the world. If anyone acknowledges that Jesus is the Son of God, God lives in them and they in God. And so we know and rely on the love God has for us.
God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. Thank you.
I don't know about anyone here, but when I first read that verse, and I'm sure when Alicia and Letitia first read that verse, or anyone's ever read that verse, it just feels like a huge maze. And you feel like, where's this going? Is it going this way, that way? But one thing I think is quite clear about that reading is that it's got the word love in it so many times. In those verses that we just heard now, I counted 13 times we heard the word love. And I think God is mentioned not much more, just nearly as many times as that. So I think, rather than getting bogged down on what's that message trying to say, I tried to think, what's the focus of that message? And to me, it was God's love. So, when I was at school, a long time ago, I used to be really happy when we were doing a lesson called Classical History, and we were talking about Greek heroes and myths. And maybe some of you have heard of the story of the hero Theseus and the Minotaur. Has anyone, stick your hand up if you've heard that story? Yeah. Yep. So if you remember that story, you know that is a story where Theseus has to go and find his way through this maze. And he manages to get to the centre. But how does he get out? Well, he has quite a special tactic for getting out. We'll talk about that in a minute. But mazes are quite telling of the road in life that we all take. You know, there's a distinct possibility that we can get straight through to the centre in one go, or, like I'm sure I'm like this, and I'm sure many of you are, we hit dead end after dead end after dead end. It's like if you don't have a map when you're going somewhere you don't know, you're likely not to get it in the first go. So, and this is something Theseus probably ended up doing, was hitting dead end after dead end after dead end. So, when I read this passage, it feels like John is standing above the maze, and he's got all the answers. He knows all the directions, and he's telling us, where all these dead ends are, and he's telling us where to avoid and where to look. Now, in the Greek story, Theseus, like I've said, does meet many dead ends. But one tactic he used to actually escape back out from the maze was to use a large piece of string. Now, I'm sure many of you have noticed as you've walked in, there is a piece of string in the church. I'm glad no one's tripped up over it, because that was what my genuine fear was. But for this next bit, I'm going to need a bit of a volunteer to come forward. Does anyone want to do this? I'm not going to tell you what it is, so you come on, Olivia. Nat, you can come and help as well. So, what is our piece of string? This piece of string that Theseus had, it kept him safe. It allowed him to escape from this maze. and continue living his life. And actually, he came out a hero, just like we've been talking about earlier on. But what is our piece of string as Christians? So, what I want you to do is, this piece of string goes somewhere. I don't know where it goes, but it goes somewhere. So what I want you to do, both of you, is take hold of it and follow it around. Don't pull it too tight because it'll snap and it won't work. But if you follow that piece of string around, and we'll see where they end up. I hope so. I hope no one's re-diverted it to Doffbacker Lodge, because that won't be good. But how long is our piece of string? What is our piece of string as Christians? And is our piece of string enough to save our lives? So this is the example. They're going to follow that piece of string round. And, we had Valentine's Day just recently, and I was amazed when I looked on Facebook recently to find many posts on Facebook that were actually saying things that, I love my mum, or I love my dad, or they weren't necessarily partners. They weren't necessarily, your husband or your wife or your partner. And it was just so nice that Valentine's Day isn't just about the love that we share for our partners. It's about the love that we share for one another, whether it's a parent or whoever that person. It might be our best friend. So picture that love that God gave us. Imagine if we could give that sort of love back to one another. Jesus came down, he died on the cross, he gave everything for us. Imagine if we were able to give that sort of love. Is it still... Oh, have you come back? All right. Oh, that's odd. Can you bring the string... Does it reach this far? Right. Could you bring the end to me? Did you hit any bumps on the way? Yeah. Well, did this string help you keep your path straight? Help you know where you were going? Right. Good. Can you take hold of that string, that piece? Right. Nathaniel, come here. This is me preparing in case it didn't reach. Can you take that end? So, this piece of string has gone almost all the way around the church. I was tempted to go outside, but I thought it might be a bit chilly. But this piece of string has gone all the way around the church. And there's been no knots, no bumps or anything in the way. But this piece of string has guided them through this maze. Now, if we think about this piece of string as a maze of life, what we can remember when we think about Jesus is, if I just tie a knot in this here, I'm going to have to do a double knot. A knot, in essence, is a cross. And this is something that has gone all the way around church. And it's now that I've tied a knot in it, not got an end. And that is an example of exactly what God's love is like. It goes all around. It guides us to the places, to the dead ends that we don't want to be. And it shows us where we're not going, and it shows us where we are going. And at the end, it's tied together with a cross. So I thought I'd just leave you with that today, just thinking about God's love is never ending. And at the centre of it all is Jesus on the cross. I can even do it like that, if that helps, but I just want to leave you with that today. So, thanks very much for listening. Do you two want to sit back down? Thanks very much for your help. Now, next, I think we've got a song. This is going to be a new song, so I think some of you may have heard this, some of you may not, but it's a song with actions. It's a song for you all to join in on. Can anyone tell me where North is? Ruth, you said it was at Winter Hill. Is it that way? Is that North?
Yes.
Right. Excellent. Right, so you need to hold that in your mind. If that's North, then that's South. Then is that East, West?
No.
What? West. No, the other way. North, South, East, West. Right. That's going to really help you with this next song. You're all going to have, not yet, but you're all going to have to stand up, and when the chorus basically goes, shout to the north and the south, sing to the east and the west. When it does north and south, I want you, with all your energy, to go north, south, East, west. I'm not being a very good example of this, but yeah. So you need to do that with your arms, okay? It's great when we get into the song. I don't know if you've heard it, it's called Shout to the North. So if we can get, we've got a YouTube video in the background, so that's going to be singing as well. So if you're not quite sure about the lyrics, then that's fine because we'll have some voices on the YouTube video. But yeah, can we have everyone on their feet? And I will do the actions. If I can remember. It's north, south, east, east is the back, east is the back, west. Right, are we alright starting the video? Are we alright? You okay?
Let our faith rise up and sing of the great and glorious King. You are strong when you feel weak. In your brokenness complete. Shout to the north and the south. Sing to the east and the west. Jesus is Savior to all. Lord of heaven and earth. Rise up, women of the truth. Stand and sing to broken hearts. Who can know the healing power of our awesome King of love? Shout to the north and the south. Sing to the east and the west. Jesus is Savior to all. Lord of heaven and earth. We will shout to the north and the south. Sing to the east and the west. Jesus is Savior to all. Lord of heaven and earth. We've been through fire, we've been through rain. We've been refined by the power of His name. We've fallen deeper in love with You. You learned the truth on our way. We will shout to the north and the south. Sing to the east and the west. Jesus is Savior to all. Lord of heaven and earth. We will shout to the north and the south. Sing to the east and the west. Jesus is Savior to all. Lord of heaven and earth. Rise up, church, with broken wings. Fill this place with songs again of our God who reigns on high. By His grace again we'll fly.
Shout to the north and the south. Sing to the east and the west. Jesus is Savior to all. Lord of heaven and earth.
Yeah, we will shout to the north and the south. Sing to the east and the west. Jesus is Savior to all.
God's love. Just like this piece of string goes all the way around church, God's love is north, south, east, west, up, down, every direction. Okay, so that's the reason for the song. We're going to move on to some prayers now. In the pouches in front of your chairs, you may find, I hope, a love heart. I apologise that some of these are quite small, but I needed more than less. So on these hearts, that's the traditional sign in today's world for love, and it's quite a fitting one. But what I wanted you to do was just to write on there, maybe a name or perhaps something that you love, or something that you want to possibly share your love with in the next few weeks. And like I said, that can be a friend, it can be a relative, it can be a best friend, it can be a partner, it can be your children, it can be your grandparents, it can be anything. There's a pencil in each pouch. I didn't want to say that. In the end of each row. Yeah, so there's pencils on the end of each row. So we're just going to spend a few minutes just writing different words on. And when you've done that, we're going to bring the hearts to the front and just place them on the front. Yeah. Just while we're doing that, we're going to also do the offering. So that's going to... Hilary's just going to lead us in the notices, and then we're going to move on to the offering.
So if you, I'll just tell you what the notices are if you want to write on your heart. 4 children are going to take the offering this morning, which is lovely, they like to do that. So at the same time as they receive the offering, there'll be 2 baskets, and you just ask to put your heart in there, and then Ben will pray. And I want to thank New Youth, who've worked really, really hard to choose the music for this morning, to choose the readings and the themes, and you've worked really hard, and I'm so thankful that God has brought you and you are part of our church family to lead our worship. Just a few notices for you this morning. On your way out this morning, Brian will have signed-up sheets for Broken, which is the Lent course we're doing, which is based on the BBC series that was on television last year with Sean Bean as a Catholic priest. It's very hard-hitting, but it's a brilliant course. So there are 4 sessions, 2 here and 2 at St John's, for you to sign up to come to Broken, so please do those. On the way out this morning, there are information about the Christian Resources exhibition at the Trafford Event City on 13th and 14th of March. It does say that there is a cost for tickets. If you let me know you want to go, I will either download for you, send you the link so you've got a free ticket. And you come away with lots and lots of goodies. It's wonderful. I'm going on Wednesday the 13th if anybody wants to go. Dana is opening it at lunchtime and it goes through till 8 o'clock at night. And then I'm saying to people, if you want to go on the Wednesday, let's have a meal together at the end of the evening. So those are there, please take them. Also, there are the Bible study notes, The Living Light. It does say on the front £4.50, but they are free. So please help yourself, and these will be outside afterwards. Take one for yourself or take one for somebody else. It's FFF on Wednesday. If you want to come, please let Joyce know at the end so that she can put the order in for food. If you haven't had your photograph taken in church yet, Trevor is around this morning with his... is it Trevor?
Yes.
It's Trevor, sorry, it's Trevor, yeah. Doing the photographs. So if you go into the back classroom afterwards, he will take your best side. And then you'll be on the notice board. So have you all done your prayers? Yeah? We're going to take up the offering and the prayers. Sorry?
Holiday Club tomorrow.
Oh, it's Holiday Club tomorrow morning from 10 till 12 for all the children to come along. And it's all free and you get your lunch, so please come along to that. But we're going to make our offerings now. Thank you. This morning. We're going to stand together and we're going to sing our closing hymn, which is 707. Make me a channel of your peace. an interactive grace. So Chris will show us the actions as we say. Do you want to tell us what it is first and then we'll do it?
I'll see if I can remember it. It's been sprung on me. That's
Sorry.
all good things are. It's a different way of doing the grace. So we say, may the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us all forevermore. Amen.
Shall we do that together?
Okay.
The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us all evermore.